Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Business with Yaver. Yes, I did just call it an episode. Keeps it a little exciting, doesn't it? It feels like a new plot is going to unravel. And the plot for this episode is called Market Research. Now, first of all, since it has the word market in it, that means it has to do something with understanding what the consumers want. Getting inside the minds of your consumers. Remember, who are consumers? Consumers are the people who are going to give you your sales, your revenue. These are the people with money, and these are the people you're supposed to target with your products. Now, this freaky little dude on top of our customer is the business in this example. And what a business is supposed to do is get inside the mind of their potential consumers. Now, we have learned in our previous chapter how you develop a target market, what is your target audience, the exact consumer profile you're looking to target. And that profile is developed using insights such as how do the consumers think, where do they spend, how do they plan, how do they divide their incomes across the different needs and wants that they have. So it's all about getting inside the mind of the customer and establishing a direct link, two-way communication between the business and the consumer, so that the business is able to fully understand what is it that the consumers desire, what would they want in their products, what packaging would they prefer, how would they want to buy it, where would they want to buy it, what price levels would be okay for them. So those are the sort of answers that the marketing department is tasked with finding out through the process of market research. Now, in terms of the definition for market research, if you can remember the four words that I'm going to tell you next, then you can put together a definition for what market research is. So what market research is, it's in four steps. The first thing that you've got to do is, obviously, you're looking to find out more things about the consumer. So you're looking for data. How do people spend? Where do they spend? How much income do they have? So things like that. So you're collecting data. And so it starts with, first of all, gathering the information that you need. So going and asking people or finding out through other means what is it that people like and how would they like it. Then you have to record it in some shape or form. So whether it's an Excel sheet, it's a chart, it's a bar chart, pie chart, whatever. You have numbers. So there are many ways to record it, and we'll be discussing those very soon. From whatever data you've collected, you can't just put it in a drawer or save it in a file and just forget about it. You have to run some analytics on it. You've got to infer, you've got to figure out what that data is saying to you, in the sense that how do people want to buy their products, where do they want to buy it, what prices would be okay for them. So you're finding out answers from this data that you've collected about what the consumers desire. And whatever you've learned from your research, it must be implemented in the business operation. So it can't just be put away. You would have spent a lot of time. Also, market research is a very, very expensive undertaking. It's not cheap. You have to hire experts, you have to train them, you have to conduct it, you have to analyze, you have to implement. So there's a lot of money that's already gone into conducting research. And the cost of research is known as a sunk cost. Yes, sunk costs are those costs which cannot be recovered by the business. So whatever research you conduct, let's say you find out your consumers now want to drink water in a 700 ml bottle. If that's the research you've conducted and that's what the consumers prefer, then it must be implemented and converted into a product. Because until and unless you convert your research into a product, you're not going to make any money, or you won't have any way to recover the amount that you've already invested in conducting research. So it must be followed through on. Therefore, implementation is a key element. And once you put all those four elements together, gathering the data, recording the data, analyzing it, and finally, when you implement it, that's what leads to better understanding of how the market is behaving. Okay, now at this point, I have deliberately written market behavior because the action word in market research is market. So I just want to discuss that here just a little bit more. Now you will remember that when we had our discussion on market, we know that market is comprised of two sides. They are your buyers, which we know are your consumers, and it also has your sellers, which are businesses. Now, when you're conducting market research, obviously from the buyer's perspective, you're trying to get an insight into what is it that the consumers want, and exactly that's what you've established so far. When you look at the seller side, of course, there's yourself, and you want to research for your own self. But on top of that, in the market, there's going to be other competitors, your rivals, selling the same product as you. So it will pay the business to keep a close eye on what the competition is doing, so that you can at least match what the competition is doing, if not go beyond, so that you at least get some sort of competitive advantage. So a business has to look at both elements in a market: what the consumers are doing and what the competition is doing around you. And once you conduct your research, what you're looking to find out in terms of answers are these things. First of all, and the most important information that comes out of market research is an accurate sales forecast. Now, an accurate sales forecast is the single most important piece of information for the business at the start of any year. Okay, because think about it. What sales forecast is that it tells you what are you expecting to sell in the coming year. So how much the consumers will be demanding of your product. Now, once a business knows that number, let's say last year we sold 100 cars, and this year we expect to sell 200 cars. If that's the scenario and you have accurately been able to predict it, then the first thing you have to do is hire more people in the operations department to make extra 100 cars. So you need operations department to manage for that, and also get all the raw materials in the engines and the body to make the 200 cars to sell it. Now, who is the operations department going to ask for those extra workers? The HR department. So HR knows that based on the sales forecast, they have to hire people to make the 100 more cars for this year. Finance has to make the money available for the extra raw materials and labor for the 100 cars, and then marketing has to sell those cars. So each department gets their cue about what they're supposed to do for the year from the sales forecast. So this is a very, very important piece of information that the marketing department helps us find through market research. Not only that, you also need to see, are there any gaps in the market? Are there any business opportunities? Any new ideas that the business can adopt and turn it into their own product? So any opportunity, any gap, that's what market research helps us to identify. And also, like I said, you want to keep a close eye on who your main competitors are. What steps are they taking? Maybe if they have a USP, you need to improve that, or somehow find another way to beat the competition. So keeping a close eye on them is also a vital part of market research. Also, one more thing that market research does is that whenever you want to launch a product, obviously you want to get a little feel about how the consumers are going to react. So that's where, when you have to also launch a new product, market research helps you to reduce the risks that are associated with it. So with market research, you could do a soft launch, like a mini launch, and you can ask people about what to do, how to improve the product. And once you've got a final version of the product which you feel and you're confident that is going to do well, then you can launch it fully. So many benefits of conducting market research. Not all of them obviously are equally important, but more so the sales forecast is a very important figure which comes out of this exercise.